Hello everyone and welcome to this PrivacyRules PrivacyEspresso. My name is Alessandro Di Mattia, Legal and Executive Officer at PrivacyRules. Today I'm joined by Andreas Von Grember, Information Security Advisor from the wizlynx group. And this is the third episode of 3 sessions, so the last one, in which we discuss together with Andreas as expert on GRC and data privacy and how GRC can determine a value-driven approach to data privacy. Andy, first of all, welcome back to this Espresso series and to the third session. I like to open up by saying that in the last 2 sessions, we had some discussion on how to break down the silos and understand how GRC and data protection can be value creating for an organization. Today, I think we are going to have a deeper look at how GRC and data protection can contribute to companies' success by using also some practical example, right?
Yes, thank you, Alexandro, for the nice intro. Before we jump into the topic, I would like to start with what we highlighted last time. So there were like 2 major takeaways. So one is that the company is working in silos when it comes to GRC. And the second one was basically that GRC and data protection is not really seen from the business as value driven. And since they work in silos, there's a lot of potential missed because overlapping requirements from risk management, from data privacy, they are handled in silos, so maybe sometimes twice, and the accountabilities are not clear. And overall, this can also lead to a higher exposure of an organization to cyber attacks because of this misalignment. So the solution is that you enforce the collaboration across the silos and to move away from decentralization to centralization.
Perfect, Andreas. Many thanks for this wrap up of our last meetings, let's say. If I recall our last discussion, you were saying that central inventory might be essential for resolving this issue. So can you give us some more insight into this?
Yeah, exactly. So today I would like to show a central inventory, how it could look like in a tool, for example. The inventory is the ledger of an organization about the tangible and non-tangible assets. Non-tangible assets like personal information, which is interesting for you. So before we move ahead, I would like to outline why Excel is not the right solution to handle this. You see there are a lot of disadvantages when you manage this with Excel, and a lot of organizations manage this with Excel. So just highlighting some, so you have no full control over the access. There is no audit trail and no work log, and often things got also lost because the file is lost. So there are a lot of disadvantages of Excel. There's one advantage, that it's more flexible, but it's not really a sustainable solution. And what we believe is that you should have a GRC solution which brings everything under one roof. So the risk management, the audit management, and so on. And all of that should be based on the records in the inventory, tangible and non-tangible. So let's have a look at the 4 most important questions when it comes to an asset inventory. So the 4 questions that should be answered by such a tool, or that you should answer to manage the assets correctly, are what are the relevant assets? Who owns them? What are they worth, or how are they classified? And what protection is expected by the law or by stakeholders? So a professional solution should be able to help you to answer these 4 questions. And most likely, this is done when you already enter and register an asset in the inventory.
Andy, thanks a lot. That was also very interesting, and I think that it's key to know, which are the right questions we should make ourselves to proceed in the best possible way. In this regard, I think that maybe having some practical example can be useful. So can you illustrate what you were explaining through some example?
Yes, sure. So let's start with question number one. What are the relevant assets? So in a good solution, you can define what kind of assets you have. So that's industry specific. What typical assets are, or which is cross-industry relevant, is what contracts do you have, what services, what suppliers, and they should be in the inventory. And the asset type should be configurable by the administrator. So that would be good. Question number two is basically who owns it. And we have two owners, so persons. So there should be an owner of an asset and a deputy owner. So they are basically the single point of contact when it comes about classification and protection. And the second dimension of who owns it, so the question who owns it is basically the organizational dimension. And here this is the extreme. So you have all dimensions. In some organizations, maybe only the legal entity and the department, but also to which site is it attached, to which division, which process, and so on. And then comes the third question, what is it worth? And what it is worth should be captured in a structured way and not only monetary. So we have the typical classification on CIA, so availability, integrity, confidentiality, but also regulatory relevance, and is it data protection relevant? Regulatory relevance, you should also be able to configure yourself, because that's also country and industry specific. And once you've done that, we come to question number four, is basically if you take the whole classification in mind for an asset, how should it be protected? And that helps you to find the protection level easy. So if you filter, for example, vital assets, so what vital assets do I have in terms of availability? They might require a mirrored system or a hot failover system. Or in terms of data privacy, if you have a system which holds sensitive data, you have to do a privacy impact assessment. And if you have a central point that you can filter, you can easily find out what the relevance is. So to summarize all of that, good GRC solution should help you to manage the assets, that's the inventory, that you know what controls are implemented with audit and assessments, to evaluate the risks of an asset with risk management, and to identify the controls which you have to apply. And that will give you a lot of benefits, higher profitability, better oversight, better collaboration, and at the end you get more agile, which is a good thing to have in the digital age.
Perfect, Andy. Thank you very much for sharing all these best practices. I think it's pretty clear on which are the main advantages that a good use of GRC can play in this context. Is there anything else that you would like to add before us to close?
Yeah, just maybe the key thing, which I repeat all the time, is the change must come from the top. You cannot change this from bottom up, because people have goals, they will need to solve problems. And if they solve problems in a specific area, they will take Excel. So you need to have a management sponsor to do such a dramatic change and to improve the organization.
Wonderful, Andy. Thanks a lot. And yes, I mean, that's something that was repeated again and again in these sessions we had together, from the first to the last. Top-down approach is the only one really working in these kind of disruptive changes that can play a key role for a variety of reasons, and can also be a big advantage for companies. So we strongly invite everyone to use this approach and eventually to contact wizlynx Group or PrivacyRules in order to get supported on how to do this. And Andy, thanks a lot for your time today and your clear explanation. I really look forward to meet you again, but this is the last of our sessions on usage of GRC platforms. So thanks a lot, and hope to see you very, very soon again, and also our listeners to meet them with the next PrivacyEspresso.
Thank you, Alexandro, and bye-bye.